Hello, everybody. My name is Alesh Eisner, and welcome to the Canadian Money Talk. I am here with Rob from the Mindful Investor. We are going to do the last podcast in our series, and we wanted to uh, put out there and discuss some of the themes that we're seeing in investing and kind of where we think that there's opportunities in the future and where things are going. So we uh, we have a couple of themes in common that we'll have a lively discussion on, and we also each have a couple of our own. So welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Alish.
All right, my pleasure. I think this is going to be saving the best for last. I think we're going to have a lively discussion on the themes. All right, let's move on to one of yours.
Yeah, mine is has been headlining on finance, Bloomberg, everywhere. Is about cryptocurrency
All
and
right.
how is disrupting traditional finance. So, so the main idea is going decentralized, and like all these bitcoins, ethereums, all these coins, it's hitting the mainstream, so you get the institutions buying it, and like that kind of makes it more legitimate. If we look at the market cap for Bitcoin, I don't know how it is. Okay, let's just say the market cap right now just reached like $1 trillion. That's comparable to like one of the top five companies, like the Apples or Facebooks. It's huge. Like all these funds are in, and I don't know. It's is it can they possibly disrupt traditional banking? Like they have, like the tools are there, but then ultimately we're living in these countries who are like governed by they'll do everything to protect their own banks. I don't know how they can enter like properly. I think it'll still remain like in the gray market, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I own a lot of banks, so I haven't sold out on any of them. But I also have Bitcoin, so I'm kind of on in both markets. Like, is it worthwhile to switch more, like go 50-50, or yeah.
Oh, you'd be a lot braver than I thought you would be, but yeah.
No, but
Can I ask what percentage your portfolio is Bitcoin right now?
it's it was very tiny. It was like 2-3%, but it's grown so much as like more than like 10-15% maybe.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I do trim it off a little bit. I don't want to get overexposed because I know anything can happen within a day.
Right.
Yeah, it's I like some parts of this crypto thing because I don't like paying fees at the banks. Sometimes I wire some money, let's say $10,000, and it costs me like 150 to make that wiring. But and it takes sometimes like 7 days. But for this cryptocurrencies, it costs like $2 and like 2 minutes.
I've wired money to the U.S. and it costs doesn't cost that much. Is it? Are you
Yeah.
wiring it further afield?
No, it's actually, yeah, it's just across different banks. I don't know why they charge that much. It's 100 plus.
Oh wow. Okay. That's
Yeah, for like a $10,000 or $20,000 wire. But I don't know.
does it depend on the amount that you're wiring?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it
That's
adds
that's
on.
strange.
It is, but I've done that many times, and I've made transfers and with cryptos many times. And if it saves money and time, then they do have an advantage there.
Okay.
But you guys just gotta find a way to cash out.
Now, now, so to you, I sort of heard both, but I'll just to confirm. To you, is crypto an investment or is it a currency?
To me, is an investment because
Okay. Well, because if you're wiring it, then it sort of sounds like it's a payment, so it's a
yeah,
currency.
it's multi-purpose. So
But
there's a lot of things you can do with it. So
its value could change if it takes the 7 days, like you could get a very different result. Like
Yeah.
the person you're sending it to, if it went down, wouldn't they say, Where's the rest of my money?"
No, 7 days is the wiring from banks, but for crypto, it's 2 minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's
Fair
the
enough.
other way around. Yeah,
It's fairly well. Even during one day, though, it could significantly change its purchasing power.
yeah. There is something that you can do. There is like something called like a stable coin, which doesn't fluctuate. It just fluctuates 0.5% no matter what. So people kind of sells their Bitcoin to that coin, and then they transfer it because there is they'll never change.
Okay.
And then they just cash out, and then they do whatever they want with it. Like there are ways around it. So and yeah, it's like it's based on like the government as well. I think this like last month, I think India banned
Yeah.
Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin prices just dropped 20%. And then just like last week, Turkey banned it and it dropped 20%. So and then like I don't think they officially banned it. There's no proper way to really ban it because it's virtual. Like if you walk down the street, you don't know who has it. You don't know like who who who's going to buy any. You have no idea.
Sometimes,
It's,
sometimes the person who has it can't access it if they forgot their passwords. But I think that's been resolved now. You can hold it indefinitely.
yeah, yeah. So what's your take on this Bitcoin disrupting traditional finance?
Well, yeah, I so my personal opinion, I think just to address a couple of your points, I think a lot of people don't know what it is or how it works. They have FOMO, fear of missing out, and they see that it's going up and that they can make money off of it, so they find a way to buy it even though they don't know what it is, what the risks are. Uh, I think there's a significant danger of it being legislated away. The government especially doesn't like not being able to tax the proceeds if you had capital gains, because people say, well, it's anonymous. I don't have to report that I've doubled my money and here's the capital gains. I thought China banned it a long time ago, didn't they? Or people trying to get
Is so loose. They
is
ban
it?
it and then it just comes back and then like I said, no one can really ban it. So
I also think people don't make the distinction between the technology, the blockchain technology underneath it, and the actual currency. The so I like the blockchain technology maybe has some promise. Again, my personal opinion is that it's a solution in search of a problem. Uh, that it's kind of cool, but you could do what it's doing in much easier ways. Uh, and that's the technology. The actual cryptocurrency, and there's like 4,000 of them, which is another problem. Is there's a difference between them, but ultimately, to me, it's a speculation. It's not an investment. Uh, somebody took a piece of paper. Somebody took a piece of paper. Let's pretend, ripped it up into 1,000 pieces, and said to somebody else, "I think this piece of paper is worth $1." The other person said, "No, I think it's worth 2." And then a third person saw that and said, "Oh, it's going up. I'm going to buy it for 3 because I think I'm going to be able to sell it to somebody else for 4." And that's just what happened. It ended up being a snowball. Ultimately, and I feel the same way about gold, frankly, except gold at least has historical value. But there's no intrinsic value to neither Bitcoin nor gold. But let's just talk about crypto. Uh, like a factory has future cash flows. It has machinery. a company has services it provides, it pays dividend, you can value it according to some intrinsic value, future cash flows. Piece of land, you can farm it, grow food on it, you can live on it, build a house on it, some intrinsic value. Now, I understand everything is worth only what somebody else is willing to pay for it. I get that. But the volatility, both of gold and crypto, is because there is no intrinsic value to tie the value to of the crypto. That's why it is so volatile, because it's really only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it. And the markets being irrational, you'll get people feeling really positive and bidding it up, and next day some inane little problem happens and they'll sell it off and it'll drop a whole bunch without any reason, because there's just nothing to tie it to. So yeah, it's not something I want to invest in, frankly. I'm a little bit with Warren Buffett. He kind of said bad things are going to happen. Only bad things are going to come of this. Nobody knows when.
Yeah.
But actually, the other funny thing is that it's denominated in U.S. dollars, right? Everybody knows Bitcoin is worth 60,000 US or whatever it is now. So it's kind of funny that you have a currency which is measured in another currency. So I kind of find that interesting. Then again, every currency in the world is measured against other currencies, but still. So yeah, until the volatility stops, which I don't think it can, nobody's going to use it as a purchasing tool. And everybody that I've listened to, nobody seems to want to. They just see it as an alternative investment, like gold. So I guess we'll see, but yeah, I don't own gold nor crypto at this point, and I don't feel that I've missed out on anything with crypto.
Yeah. But what do you feel? Why do you feel some institutions like Goldman Sachs or the biggest guys are actually investing into it?
Um,
They got smart people back there, and
are they? Well, like I know Tesla bought like
like
a
$1 billion or something.
1 point something $1 billion
Yeah,
worth of
and
Bitcoin.
they were accepting it as payments too.
Yeah, later they did. The As an aside, they made more money off of their purchase of Bitcoin than they did off of their Tesla
Cars,
sales.
yeah.
But that's a different story. Where I'm gonna poke fun at Tesla. But so yeah, I mean, once you got the first ETF that gave it some legitimacy, I think the underground movement sort of kept going until it became big enough that like it's here to stay. It needs to be dealt with. But you know what? The next leader of this country or that country could say, we think this is a risk. We have a perfectly good working currency. This is this is something we can't control. This is being used for crime, and worse, we can't tax it, or we have difficulty taxing it. And they're just going to say it's not something that you're allowed to have. I don't really know how Turkey and what was the other country? India?
India, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how they can ban it. Like I know China controls the internet and what websites people can go to, so there's that. But like India being a fairly democratic country, that's interesting. So yeah, it's not my thing. God bless. I know a lot of people have made a lot of money at it. I think there's also a lot of people who bought just before a drop and also lost a bunch of money at it. So it's in that respect, it acts like a regular investment.
So it is an investment. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
like to me, it's like a company that uh, doesn't make a profit and has very little revenue. If you buy shares of it, you're depending on other people to to get the price going upwards. It there's no value in it uh, except what other people assign it by purchasing it and giving it validity in that respect. But the greater fool theory comes to mind, and the whole tulip crisis in the 1600s in the Netherlands, where the price of tulip bulbs skyrocketed, until it was worth a year's worth of wages, and then suddenly somebody said, "This is stupid. I don't think it's worth that much," and then it dropped like a rock again. So um, yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure. Like we compare it to the tulip bubble, right? So like, what was the market cap of a tulip bubble? Is it just is it just so tiny that is doesn't even matter? Because this one is getting huge. The whole thing is like $2 trillion. It's
Um,
not it's not a tiny little thing. There's a lot of people in this bubble. Like,
I know, but for the price to go up, more people need to be buying than selling,
for sure, for sure.
right? So
Yeah,
so in my humble opinion, those are the greater fools who are buying it only because they hope that there's going to be a greater fool than them who's going to buy it from them for a higher price. It's not because they think it's worth that much. It's because they're hoping to make money off of it by somebody else buying for even more. And all it takes is one little thing where they realize, okay, maybe it's not worth this much, and nobody knows how much it's worth. That's the worst thing. That's my point. Uh,
yeah,
and so they realize, oh, I guess it's not worth this much, and they're like, okay, I better take my profits and run, and then it just goes whoomp. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, but but
yeah. There, I mean, I do have my worries too, right? Because blockchain is created by someone. So anything that someone creates, there's a loophole. I don't know.
yeah, there's that like who created it, like nobody knows. There's some anonymous
Exactly.
person. How do you know that he or she doesn't have enough of it sitting somewhere that they can access? Oh, there's a limited amount, everybody says, and the whole mining of it, which that's a whole yet another waste of electricity. uh like, how do you know that somebody isn't taking advantage of it? Because that's the human thing to do.
Yeah.
Whoever invented it and didn't make themselves known, are they hoping to profit off of it? Because like, if it was your swan song, you've accomplished everything else in your life and you wanted to leave the world with something amazing, you're like, it was me, I invented the whole thing. But like, it's a mystery. So
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. So in your as a conclusion, you don't think it will disrupt traditional banks, right?
I actually think the banks are working on the technology because they have the money to kind of do all of that. Maybe they'll take the best parts of it. Maybe they'll implement blockchain. Uh, I mean, the banks have a vested interest in keeping the status quo because they're making lots of money off of all those transaction fees that you're talking about with regular dollars. Uh, the other thing, I was just watching a TV show earlier today where they were talking about Bitcoin, is you have official currencies. How how do you just come up with, it's like, poof, here's another one? Like, how do you do that? The government has an official currency, and they get to they get to say yes or no. And then you say, well, why should the government have that power? Well, there's the police, there's the army. What else do you want? Like, we voted them in, hopefully, in most of the world. Uh, Now they get to make decisions. So I don't know how Joe Biden feels. I don't know how Trump felt about it. But the next president could say, okay, the central bankers say this isn't a good idea. They can't control it, and they could kill it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's that.
so no, I don't think it's a future thing. I think it's going to be sort of an oddity, which CNBC and BNN uses to fill airtime. And
Okay.
I could be totally wrong, and heck, I'm missing out on a bunch of upside. But then again, there's stocks which are going times 100, which I'm also missing out on. So I don't really feel that bad about it.
Yeah, there's no FOMO here. Yeah.
No, I just try to have like I have principles which I sort of invest according to, and uh, the the intrinsic value check fails here for me. So, um, but to everybody's point, gold doesn't have intrinsic value either, and it's by virtue of being shiny and rare. It's been historically a store of value. So I hope the folks listening have enjoyed our discussion, and maybe they'll be able to leverage some of these themes in their own research and in their own uh, purchases and investing as they wish. Please do your own research prior to investing in any of the companies that we've mentioned or following up on any of the themes. So I have been Alesh Eisner of the Canadian Money Talk. This has been my friend Rob of the Mindful Investor. I hope you've enjoyed our podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching, and check out my channel if you if you're curious into what I do at Mindful Investor.